She said, "I can't see you anymore." And that was the last I spoke to her.
For people that don't know you, what is your name and who are you from?
Well, this is Rob again, originally from Boston, but living on Martha's Vineyard for the past 18 years until a couple of months ago.
All right, Rob, well, I wanted to ask you a few questions to get the updates on your life, and the video has really been reaching a lot of people. So can we just take a walk around this courtyard here where you're living and talk about that?
Yeah, sounds great.
Let's do that now. So Rob, tell me, when we chatted, you mentioned that you were in a relationship with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
How did that evolve and where is that now?
Let me see. So we met online, an app, very nice woman, a lot going on, but I think that I felt that there was not the connection that I was looking for. So we parted ways as friends.
Based off of that situation, is there any advice that you could give to someone that is something you learned from this experience?
I've thought about it a little bit, and I think that I maybe waited too long before I realized there's not a connection and people are going to get hurt. So I think that I should have asked more questions about her. There were certain differences that I found that I think long-term would have just made the situation much worse down the road.
And how did family and religion play in this factor in this situation?
Well, in this specific situation, family wasn't really an issue. Religion was a big part of the issue. Here in the coffee region, women are very, very religious, and their mothers even more so, if you can believe it. So she was incredibly devout, the way that I have never experienced in the United States. And for me, not being nearly that way, I felt that was something that would impede our relationship in the long term.
Being that religion is such a big deal here, has this affected you in other relationships you've had being in Latin America?
Yeah, it has. I met a very nice lady, I think it was online on an app many years ago in Santa Marta. Great town. I met her. She's a lawyer. She owned real estate around there, and we had a great relationship. And she said, "I think it's time for you to meet my mother." And it was great. We went to the town next door in Taganga. We're on the water, and I'm doing everything to be as nice as I can to her mother, and put them in an Uber, sent her home. And she said, "Oh my God, that went so good. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, but I'm so excited." And the next morning, she texted me. She said, "Did you tell my mother that you don't believe in God?" And I said, "Well, she asked." She said, "I can't see you anymore." And that was the last I spoke to her.
Thanks for sharing that story, Rob.
Yeah, tough one.
Rob, a lot of people in the previous video that we had chatting about dating mentioned that you were using apps, and I feel like there was some missing information that you didn't mention about your dating life here.
Very much so. And I should have said right off the bat, meeting people organically is the best way. And it could be in a mall. It could be at the gym. There's a million different places just sitting here in this courtyard. Somebody has a dog and you strike up conversations. I will, like right now, tonight, my dear neighbors downstairs, the wife just said, "We have to find you a good woman." So they're taking me over to the French Cafe across the road tonight. There's a wonderful woman. I guess she's a doctor, urologist. And they said she's attractive, she's accomplished, you're gonna love her. We all think it's a great fit. So again, organically is always the best way to go because there's a sense of trust that's already there that is not in the apps. So I'm hoping for the best. Sounds like could be a match.
Are there any important things that you bring up quickly when you first meet someone in order to make sure that perhaps neither of you are wasting your time because you want an authentic connection and have a lot of things in common?
Let me see. I think that just like we were talking about organically, I just try to let the conversation grow organically. Tell me about yourself. Are you originally from Pareda? How long you've been in your profession? And just try to get a feel of the person without getting too deep into a million questions. Those things can come later. But I think what's important to me is there a connection, me to her and she to me? And I think by the time you have done like a 30-minute sit down or an hour or something like that, you get a feel if it's worthwhile going on a second date. And you'll know pretty quick.
Are there any specific things about you that you think you should mention early on in the relationship that you want them to know in order for you guys to know that you're compatible?
Yep, good point. Women here really want to know, what do you think of Colombia? Why did you come to Colombia? How long have you been here? How long are you going to be here? They want to know that you're just not passing through. It is incredibly important. What do you do for a living? I'm retired, but they're going to be asking you all the basics. And so if you can kind of naturally let that stuff out without sounding like you're taking off the check marks to pre-qualify yourself to them, I think it's a good way to go.
You mentioned religion and how that was a difficult part of the previous relationship that you mentioned in the first video. Is that something that you feel is important to bring up right away, or is that something that you feel like is better to leave for later?
Yeah, I wouldn't mention it right away. I think that I'm almost assuming that everybody here is religious. It's just a matter of a degree of religious. And, I think it's a touchy question. So I can't imagine myself saying, by the way, I don't go to church. I never go to church. I don't know if that would be comfortable for either. So I would rather let that evolve.
If you're enjoying this interview and you're interested in seeing more content like this, you can check out my playlist called the Expat Interview Playlist, where I have been interviewing people from Guatemala all the way down through Central America and now here in South America.
So Rob, you're a retired single American man here, and you're going around and you're exploring, you're seeing these new cities and going to new places, tourist places. How does travel tie into dating in your life here?
Well, I will say, if you're dating somebody and you say, hey, I think I'm going to Santa Marta for a couple of days. And, a lot of times people here, they're working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and they don't have that luxury. So if I decide I want to get away, they're going to say, well, why are you going? How long are you going? I think that people here are much more protective. They're a whole lot more jealous than back home. I think there's good reason for it. So it's definitely something that, I've always been independent. I just got back from Thailand and Vietnam. And so I'm used to just picking up the bags and jumping on a flight. When you're in a relationship, almost anywhere, but especially in Latin America and Colombia, I think that they are very, very suspect. Don't be surprised if they're trying to check your phone and your WhatsApp and all.
So one thing that people bring up is that when you're dating Latinas, a lot of the professionals are the ones that have almost no free time, and that the ones that have a lot of free time are the ones that are not the professionals. How do you find one that's a professional but with free time?
Good question. The ones that have all the free time, that usually means that they're not working and they have no money at all. So that presents another set of problems. The professionals, yeah, I guess they work a lot of hours, but it's a matter of, it's a plus or minus, and you've got to, look at the person and say, is it worthwhile, and can we have a relationship, given that they might be working 5 days a week, 10 hours, or maybe 6 days a week. It happens sometimes, especially when you're dealing with some of these white collar. But anything's possible if the connection is true.
Have you had this situation happen to you where you met someone that is just almost too busy to be dating you?
Yep. And for me, that is a big part of it that I look at now, because I'm retired. This is what I do. I go to cafes, I go to pueblos, I jump on a plane. But if somebody, in other words, if you can only meet them at 7:30 at night for 2 hours because they got to get up early because they've got to go to work again the next morning, 5 or 6 days a week sometimes, what sort of relationship can you have, especially since you're all done working? So, it's a part of it. The work requirements here in Colombia are something that we just don't understand in the United States.
Can you give us an example of anyone that you've met that you saw for a short period of time that ended in this kind of situation?
I would say that I didn't get in a relationship, but I looked at her, I said, wow, what a wonderful woman. She's intelligent, she's accomplished, but I just looked at her and I just said, she's working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and I just didn't see that it was worthwhile pursuing. And so, but I just don't want anybody to get hurt. You know, you start getting in and feelings are going back and forth, and then you have to have that talk. And it's never a pretty situation.
Have you met recently any women that are the professionals with some time off, and are they typically a certain age or from a certain place?
Yeah, I think that this is true. The benefit of dating women closer to your age, your 40s and your 50s and your 60s, is that they're usually more established in their profession. They're going up the hierarchy, and so the longer you've been there, the better your job. Usually, the less hours, and also the kids are all 18 plus, so it's not like you know. When kids are there, it's a whole different situation when the kids come into play. So, you know, by the time somebody's in their mid-40s or something, the kids are away and they have more time to spend. They're usually doing 5 days a week, might be 10, it might be 8 hours, but then you usually have the weekends. And that's just like a normal person in the United States. So that's the benefit of dating older women.
Are you optimistic about this organic meetup that you have today? Is this a woman that's in that type of situation you mentioned?
Well, we'll see. I don't know much about her. My neighbor wife gave me the basics of her. She's attractive. She's mid-40s. She's a doctor. She lives nearby. So ticks off. But you know how it is. You'll just have to see. She's another person that you don't know any more about except for the basics. But since she's been referred, I've been given the seal of approval as a gringo. That's a huge thing. So with that, I have open expectations. We'll see what goes on.
I appreciate you giving us the information to get us up to speed about what you're doing now and how your life is evolving. Everyone's really enjoying your story, Rob. I really appreciate it. Are there any last minute things you want to say to the people that have been watching these videos with you?
Yes. Listen, I haven't been here that long, but we are talking about my 12th trip, and this is my final trip. This is my new home, and I haven't regretted a single thing. All of the things that I had envisioned about coming here, I didn't think it would be exactly the way it is, but everything has been nearly perfect. My only issue is working out a visa, but if anybody is considering coming to Colombia, it's one of the great options in the world. So just do your research, learn more Spanish, and take a step over.
So you think that even despite the visa problems you've been having, it's totally worth the extra effort to come here to live?
Sure. Even here, I've been here, almost 6 months. I can't wait till I get my visa and I can stay here for the next couple of years ahead. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Rob. Guys, thanks for watching. Hasta la próxima.